What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we're talking about some big news out of the LCS that on the podcast Face Check with I Will Dominate, it has been leaked that Dignitas is planning on subbing out Froggen and Akaadian for this upcoming week for Fenix and Dardoch. This is pretty big news because Froggen is a guy who's been very, very popular in the scene. He's been highly touted as a top mid laner in the region for a while, but at one point even one of the top mid laners in the world. He's very popular. He's always been like high paid, highly regarded around the league and stuff, but he's had a lot of up and down results in North America. Hasn't really ever done much. I don't believe he's made it to Worlds. I don't believe he's ever really threatened for an LCS title or anything. But him getting benched is definitely going to be very, very big news, and it'll be interesting to see if Froggen ends up wanting to leave the team, if he has other options, if he has places to go. Are we going to see Froggen just in Academy? Also, Akaadian losing his starting spot to Dardoch. That should be really, really interesting as well. Just a lot of crazy stuff coming out of this. But also some hilarious stuff is that lourlo replaced Viper a couple weeks ago as a top laner. So now they have lourlo, Dardoch, and Fenix together, who were on that famous 2016 Team Liquid team. That was the beginning of Dardoch's run as this toxic player, where they made the Breaking Point documentary. So that's pretty hilarious that they're all coming back together. And then a little blurb at the end where it says, for those wondering, Piglet's currently a free agent. Don't really even think he's a professional player anymore. And then Matt is on Evil Genius's Academy. And then Loco Doco, he was like fired as the Golden Guardians head coach a couple splits ago. He's now doing full-time content creation. And then I also really like this comment that said, on TSM, Grig was replaced by Akaadian, who was replaced by Dardoch, and then now Dignitas had Grig and then replaced him with Akaadian, then replaced him with Dardoch. Again, a lot of mixed results with Grig, Akaadian, and Dardoch. When they were on TSM, I honestly thought Akaadian was the best of the three of them, but Dardoch was a very, very close second. But still, neither of them were like overwhelmingly dominant or good or anything. None of them were ever like overly consistent or overly just made plays. They all have their own unique weaknesses, their own unique strengths. I don't know. There's a lot of problems with all of them. I wouldn't really feel comfortable with any of them as my jungler, but TSM did make it to a spring split final with Akaadian, and at times they look like the best team in the league with Dardoch. They even took down Cloud9 last split with Dardoch as jungle, but he did lose him a lot of games as well, as did Akaadian at certain points. But when Akaadian's confident, I think he is a very, very good jungler. But yeah, Fenix and Dardoch are going to be subbing in. I think Dardoch, you pretty much know what you get with him at this point. He's going to be a very, very strong early game jungler. He's going to make some boneheaded decisions. He's going to tilt at times. And in a lot of team environments, he's not going to fit in very well. As far as Fenix, I think he's much more of a wild card. We've seen Fenix have very high highs in the LCS, like very, very high highs. At times where he's looked like one of the best mid laners in North America. But then some stretches and stuff where he's just not very good. And again, he hasn't been in LCS now in a few years. He's bounced around. I think maybe even switched to AD carry for a little while. He's been all over the place, so it'll be interesting. But I think the biggest news out of all this is that Froggen has been benched in this upcoming week, and it'll be crazy to see the fallout from all this and what happens with the team going forward. As far as LCS standings, Dignitas is 0-6, so I think it's a fine time to make this move. Again, even though Froggen is this highly regarded mid laner, if you're not putting up results, if you're taking all these resources, not carrying games, yes, he's never really had an amazing team in NA around him, but at some point you got to try different stuff out. See how Fenix looks. If Fenix looks terrible too, then maybe it's a team, but if Fenix looks decent, maybe Froggen's an issue. See how Dardoch looks. See how Dardoch and lourlo play together. See if they can get anything going just to win a game or two, because again, they're 0-6 right now, and top 8 make the playoffs, and they only have to win one game to get into that playoff position right now, so I am definitely in favor of making changes. We're a third of the way through the split, so I don't think it's like too early or anything. Changes got to be made. I like what's going on. And then as far as your schedule this coming week, we see they play 100 Thieves on Saturday and Cloud9 on Sunday. You assume they're not going to beat Cloud9. 100 Thieves is a very, very winnable game. So if you think you can make some changes to maybe give your team a couple, like, little bit better odds to win, now's a great time to do it with an easy game like 100 Thieves coming up. But again, I'm sure Dignitas will be announcing this later later this week on Twitter or something. They haven't really said anything yet. But I Will Dominate has leaked it. Usually a pretty credible source. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, I assume they're going to be announcing this later on in the week. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about the changes that Dignitas is making? You think this is going to make their team better or worse in the short term and in the long term? You think they're going to make the playoffs? Who knows? Again, they only have to win like 1 or 2 more games to be right there with that 7-8 seed. Right in that pack. Subscribe, save down on the latest content. Check out the link for Robinhood in the description below if you want to receive a free stock just for signing up. You don't need to put any money on. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.